A very good morning and welcome to the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha television, the perfect show to kickstart your day, bringing you the top national, international, business and sports news. My name is Aishwarya and these are the headlines. Day 2 of the Global Entrepreneurship Summit in Hyderabad today. Ivanka Trump to take part in discussion on innovation, skill and training. On day 1, advisor to Donald Trump said that India has a true friend in the White House. Gujarat poll campaigning in full swing. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Rahul Gandhi back on campaign trail. Modi to address election rallies in South Gujarat. Congress Vice President to kick off a 2-day campaign tour with a visit to Somnath Temple. Supreme Court objects to statements made by persons holding high offices against the film Padmavati, says that such remarks are tantamount to prejudging a movie that is yet to be certified by the censor board. North Korea fires its highest ever intercontinental ballistic missile. US calls the launch a global threat, says will take care of it. Japan requests UN Security Council meeting over North Korea. And Bali residents living next to smoldering volcano urged to evacuate as soon as possible amid warnings of another large eruption. Over 1,20,000 tourists stranded as Bali International Airport continues to remain shut. Our top story this morning, it is day 2 of the Global Entrepreneurship Summit in Hyderabad, and the key event today will be the plenary session that will feature a discussion on innovation in workforce development and skills training. Advisor to the President of the United States, Ivanka Trump, who will take part in the discussion. Other panelists include Sherry Blair, founder, Cherry Blair Foundation for Women, Chanda Kochar, Managing Director and CEO, ICICI Bank, and Karine Quintos, Chief Customer Officer, Dell EMC. Trump, a businesswoman herself, will be discussing issues of innovation, skill and training. She is leading a delegation of senior White House officials as well as American entrepreneurs. The theme of this year's summit is Women First, Prosperity for All, and includes 1,200 young entrepreneurs, and most of them are women. Co-hosted by the governments of the US and India, Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the 3-day summit on Tuesday. So earlier on Tuesday, the 3-day Global Entrepreneurship Summit was jointly inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi and advisor to the US President Donald Trump, his daughter Ivanka, in Hyderabad. The summit, with a focus on women and their roles as entrepreneurs, in its 8th edition and is being held in South Asia for the first time.
To my entrepreneur friends from across the globe, I would like to say, come, make in India, invest in India, for India and for the world. I invite each one of you to become a partner in India's growth story.
Pitching the country's Make in India initiative, Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Tuesday invited global entrepreneurs to come to India, promising an investment-friendly environment. Speaking at the Global Entrepreneurship Summit in Hyderabad, Modi listed his government's achievements, saying it has succeeded in containing the fiscal and current account deficits, as well as curbing inflation.
Our government has taken several steps to improve the business environment. The jump in India's ranking in the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business report from 142 to 100 in 3 years is a result of these initiatives.
Speaking at the summit, advisor to US President Donald Trump, Ivanka Trump hailed India as one of the fastest growing economies in the world. She stressed on the need to bridge the gender gap in the labor force to help boost Indian economy by over $150 in the next 3 years.
Fueling the growth of women-led businesses isn't simply good for society, it's good for our economy. One study estimates that closing the gender entrepreneurship gap worldwide could grow our global GDP by as much as 2%. The woman in this room can lead the way in closing that gap and ushering in a new era of greater prosperity.
Ivanka also lauded Prime Minister Narendra Modi for bringing about transformational change in India.
What you are achieving here is truly extraordinary. From your childhood selling tea to your election as India's Prime Minister, you've proven that transformational change is possible. And now you are bringing that promise to hundreds of millions of people across your country.
Earlier in the day, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Ivanka Trump inaugurated the 8th Global Entrepreneurship Summit in Hyderabad. The 3-day event, which focuses on female entrepreneurs, is being jointly hosted by India and the United States. Modi also met Ivanka on the sidelines of the summit and had a productive discussion on women entrepreneurship and empowerment. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And later in the day on Tuesday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and US President Donald Trump's daughter and advisor Ivanka Trump attended a gala dinner at the Falaknuma Palace. Now, the palace is famous for its huge Nizam-era table, which can seat 101 guests at a time. The palace was the residence of the 6th Nizam, Mir Mehboob Ali Khan, till his death in 1911. Modi and Ivanka Trump were joined by Telangana Governor ESL Narasimhan, Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao and top politicians and industrialists on the 101-seater dining table at the Palace Hotel. A separate dinner was arranged for around 1,500 delegates of the GES in the lawns of the palace, and the guests were served with a variety of delicacies, including the famous Hyderabadi biryani. And noted Indian-American entrepreneur Frank Islam lauded the efforts by the government to lay emphasis on women entrepreneurs. He, however, said that there is a need to do much more in India in order to put Indian women entrepreneurs first. Let's take a listen.
We need to put Indian women entrepreneurs first. There's a critical need to put them first. They face a tremendous barrier in starting a new business venture. But they're also a tremendous asset to start a new business venture. So this summit will highlight that there is a lot to be done in India to put the Indian woman first as an entrepreneur.
On to some other news now. The much-awaited Hyderabad Metro Rail started its commercial operations from today after Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Tuesday inaugurated its first phase. With the 24 stations in the first phase, the metro will cover a 30-kilometer stretch and is expected to carry 17 lakh passengers every day.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the Hyderabad Metro Rail Tuesday, also unveiling the inaugural pylon at the station premises. Modi also took a ride on the metro along with Telangana Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao. The metro system is being built across 3 dense traffic corridors: LB Nagar to Miapur, Jubilee bus station to Falaknuma and Nagol to High-Tech City for 72 kilometers in total. The first corridor inaugurated by the Prime Minister covers a 30-kilometer stretch between Miapur and LB Nagar with 24 stations. The Hyderabad Metro Rail is claimed to be the most innovative and largest project in the world under public-private partnership. There will be a minimum fare of 10 rupees for a distance of up to 2 kilometers and the maximum fare of 60 rupees for a distance of more than 26 kilometers. Each train would initially have 3 coaches with passenger capacity up to 330. With increase in traffic, the number of coaches will be increased to 6. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
And now our special segment, Verdict 2017. Well, after inaugurating Global Entrepreneurship Summit in Hyderabad, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi will return to his election campaigning mode in Gujarat as he is scheduled to address 4 rallies in South Gujarat today. Prime Minister Modi will first address a poll rally in Morbi. Later, he will visit Prachi village near Somnath and address a public meeting at Prachi Timdi. In the afternoon, Prime Minister Modi will visit Palitana, a famed pilgrimage centre of the Jain community in Bhavnagar. The Prime Minister's last public address will be in Navsari in South Gujarat. A cleanliness campaign is in full swing in Morbi, and around 700 police officials have been called in to ensure safety during Prime Minister's rally. Remember, Gujarat has a total number of 182 assembly seats, and the two-phase Gujarat elections will take place on 9th and 14th of December, while the counting of votes is scheduled for 18th of December. And with the Gujarat polls less than 2 weeks away, Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi also will be back on the campaign trail in the poll-bound state today. Rahul Gandhi will kick off a 2-day campaign tour in the state with a visit to the Somnath temple. He will also visit Gir Somnath, Amreli and Bhavnagar districts, where he will interact with people and hold public meetings. On the second day of campaigning, Rahul Gandhi will begin his rallies with a public meeting in Lathi. He is also likely to visit the cities of Dhasa as well as Barwala and Vallabhipur. Rahul Gandhi will have another public meeting in Botad, and he will complete his campaign with a Sabha in Nari Chokdi in Bhavnagar. This will be his 6th visit to the state since the assembly election dates were announced on 24th of October. News from Uttar Pradesh, and voting for the third and the final phase of municipal elections is being held on Wednesday across 26 districts in Uttar Pradesh. Polling is being held in 233 local bodies spread over 26 districts, including 5 municipal corporations of Saharanpur, Moradabad, Bareilly, Firozabad and Jhansi. Under this phase, a total of 28,209 candidates are in the fray. Polling for the first phase, remember, was held on 22nd of November, while the second phase took place on 26th of November. And the counting of votes for all the 3 phases will be on 1st of December, and the results will be declared the same day. And the Income Tax Department on Tuesday conducted searches at over 25 locations in the Delhi and the NCR area. The raids were conducted in connection with its tax evasion probe into the Panama Papers leak cases. IT teams swooped down on 3 business groups which had interests in metals and food processing, financial services and tires. The Central Board of Direct Taxes had recently said that the probe into the Panama Papers leak cases had led to the detection of undisclosed wealth of 792 crore rupees. Over a year after the Washington-based International Consortium of Investigative Journalists made the documents public, the CBDT had said that it had found 147 of a total of 426 cases actionable. The IT department conducted inquiries in all the cases by making 395 references to 28 foreign jurisdictions. And senior bureaucrat Badri Narayan Sharma has been appointed as the chairman of the National Anti-Profiteering Authority under the GST regime. Sharma is a 1985 batch IS officer of the Rajasthan cadre and is currently additional secretary in the Department of Revenue. The setting up of the 5-member authority was approved by the Union Cabinet on 16th of November. It is mandated to ensure that the benefits of GST rate reduction is passed on to the consumers. If the authority finds any company guilty of not passing on GST benefits, it will either direct the entity to do so or transfer the amount to the Consumer Welfare Fund within a specified timeline. The authority will also have the power to cancel registration of any entity or business. And in Breakfast News, time for a very short break. We'll be back with more news. Stay tuned.
Art, arisen from a multi-hued cultural canvas. Tradition and cultural fervour dating back centuries. And encircling them all, there's a magic that awes. Embrace your nation's brilliant human warmth. Watch Colours of India, Sundays at 9:30 p.m. on Rajya Sabha television.
Rabindranath Tagore was awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1913 for his book Gitanjali. In 1950, he composed the music and lyrics for India's national anthem Jana Gana Mana. And when Bangladesh became independent in 1971, they chose Tagore's song Amar Shonar Bangla as its national anthem. Tagore's life and works have made him a cultural icon, studied the world over, even into the 21st century.
Welcome back after the break. Now, today is the day 2 of President Ramnath Kovind's maiden visit to West Bengal. President Kovind will today visit the birthplace of Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore at Jora Sanko and Netaji Bhavan, the residence of the nationalist leader Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. He will also attend the closing ceremony of the centenary celebrations of Bose Institute, a premier research institute of the country established by Acharya Jagdish Chandra Bose. The President will also visit the global headquarters of the Ramakrishna Mission and Mutt at Belur Mutt. Earlier on Tuesday, the West Bengal government held a state reception in honour of Ramnath Kovind, who is visiting Kolkata for the first time since taking oath as the president earlier this year. Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee presented one of her own paintings to the president. After West Bengal, President Ramnath Kovind will proceed to Mizoram for a 2-day visit. And Snehalata Srivastava has been appointed as the new Secretary General of the Lok Sabha. Srivastava will be the first woman Secretary General of the lower house. She is set to assume charge on 1st of December. Her tenure will end on 30th of November 2018. Srivastava will take over a day after current incumbent Anup Mishra is relieved of charge. A 1982 batch IAS officer from Madhya Pradesh cadre, Srivastava was till recently Secretary Justice in the Law Ministry. Now, issuing the recommendations on net neutrality, telecom regulator TRAI has proposed restrictions on service providers from entering into agreements which lead to discriminatory treatment of content on the internet. TRAI said, and I quote, "The discriminatory treatment in the context of treatment of content would include any form of discrimination, restriction, or interference in the treatment of content, including practices like blocking, degrading, slowing down, or granting preferential speeds or treatment to any content." Now, TRAI has also suggested the formation of a multi-stakeholder body comprising telecom and internet service providers, content providers, civil society organization, and consumer representatives. Now, this body will monitor and investigate any violations. Supporters of net neutrality back the principle that the entire internet traffic should be available to everyone on equal terms without any discrimination based on business consideration of service providers. In February last year, TRAI had barred platforms like Facebook's Internet.org and Airtel Zero, which allowed free access to selected websites. The US regulator, Federal Communications Commission, recently said that it plans to roll back the net neutrality rules that were adopted in America in 2015. Now, taking strong exception to the comments made by persons holding public office, including ministers and chief ministers, on controversial film Padmavati, the Supreme Court on Tuesday said that such people should refrain from passing remarks till the film is cleared by the Central Board of Film Certification. The Supreme Court once again said that it is the prerogative of the censor board to review the film Padmavati and make a decision on whether it is suitable for screening. A bench headed by Chief Justice Deepak Mishra dismissed the fresh petition that had sought an order to restrain the producers of the movie from releasing it abroad. Film director Sanjay Leela Bhansali, however, assured the apex court that he will not release Padmavati in other countries till the film is certified by the central board. The chief ministers of Rajasthan, Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh have said that they will not allow the movie to release even if it is cleared by the censor board.
सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट को डायरेक्शन दिया है, उनसे पूछा कि आप एक्शन क्यों नहीं लेते हैं लॉ के अंदर में, जब लॉ में कोई प्रोविजन नहीं है क्या इस स्थिति में एक्शन लेने के लिए. वाई यू पीपल आर साइलेंट, आप लोग साइलेंट क्यों हैं, क्यों नहीं एक्शन लेते लॉ का जो भी प्रोविजन है. आप एक्शन लीजिए. लोग इतना स्टेटमेंट दे रहे हैं, बड़ी बड़ी अथॉरिटी स्टेटमेंट दे रहे हैं, आप लोग साइलेंट बैठे हुए हैं. एक्शन लीजिए इस चीज़ के ऊपर, लॉ जो भी प्रोविजन है उसके हिसाब से आप एक्शन.
And Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu inaugurated the Andhra Pradesh campus of Vellore Institute of Technology in Amravati on Tuesday. While addressing the gathering, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu said that education is the most powerful weapon which can transform the world. Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu was also present on the occasion. The Vice President also said that educational institutions are temples of learning and every student must show respect to their teachers. He added that the students must also display complete dedication and discipline towards the entire process of learning. He further said that education should become a powerful tool of social, cultural and economical transformation of the country, with strong moral and ethical values forming the basis of such a transformation.
In India, there are good universities, but you need excellent universities. So I appeal to all the universities, private or public, to focus on enhancing the skills and enhancing the knowledge, raising the standards, and then compete with the world. If proper opportunities are given, proper facilities are given, proper infrastructure is created, definitely our universities also will excel.
On to some other news, India will build its first National Crisis Management Center, NCMC, with Russia's help. Now, this was decided in a meeting between Union Home Minister Rajnath Singh and Russian Minister for Emergency Situation, Vladimir Puchkov, in Moscow on Tuesday. Russian EMCOM would share its expertise with India for creating the quick responding NCMC in India. After reviewing the earlier agreement on disaster management, both the ministers signed a joint implementation plan for 2018-19 for cooperation in disaster management. Now, top international focus now. North Korea has fired its highest ever intercontinental ballistic missile, a missile that flew higher and farther than any of its past tests. South Korean news agency said that the missile was launched from Pyeongseong in South Pyongan province. The Pentagon said that the missile had flown for about 1,000 kilometers before falling into the Sea of Japan. U.S. Defense Secretary Jim Mattis said that it demonstrates North Korea has the ability to hit everywhere in the world. Mattis briefed U.S. President Donald Trump and other senior officials on the missile launch. Afterwards, Donald Trump said, "We will take care of it." The launch early on Wednesday is the latest in a series that have raised international tensions. North Korea's last ballistic missile launch was in the month of September, and it came days after its 6th nuclear test. After the recent launch, South Korean President Moon Jae-in also spoke to U.S. President Donald Trump. The missile launch has also been condemned worldwide, with the Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe saying that Japan has requested United Nations Security Council meeting over North Korea.
A missile was launched a little while ago from North Korea. I will only tell you that we will take care of it. We have General Mattis in the room with us, and we've had a long discussion on it. It is a situation that we will handle.
북한은 오늘 탄도미사일을 발사하였습니다. 이는 한반도 긴장을 고조시킬 뿐만 아니라 국제 평화와 안전을 중대하게 위협하는 행위입니다. 북한이 이렇게 무모한 도발을 일삼고 있는 데 대해 강력히 규탄합니다.
国連安保理に対して緊急会合を要請します。国際社会は団結して制裁措置を完全に履行していく必要があります。
Another top international focus is the volcano in Bali, and the residents there who are living next to a smouldering volcano are being urged to evacuate as soon as possible amid warnings from emergency agencies of another large eruption. Almost 30,000 people have already left the area around Mount Agung since it began erupting on Saturday, spewing clouds of ash. But there are 1,000 others people who are still living in the danger zone who need to be evacuated urgently. Meanwhile, over the 1 lakh tourists remain stranded in Bali as the main airport continues to remain shut.
Over 1,20,000 tourists were stranded at the Bali International Airport for the second day on Tuesday after clouds of smoke from Mount Agung volcano forced authorities to extend the airport's closure by another 24 hours. As plane routes remain covered by volcanic ash, over 443 flights to and from Bali have been cancelled since Monday. While airport officials are evaluating the conditions every 6 hours, 10 alternative airports in neighbouring provinces have been prepared for inbound flights to be diverted to.
मेरे हिसाब से बाली गवर्नमेंट ने कुछ भी मतलब फॉरेन टूरिस्ट के लिए कुछ भी हेल्प नहीं कर रहे हैं। यहाँ हजारों लोग एयरपोर्ट में फंसे हुए हैं एंड दे हैव टू गो टू द सम अदर एयरपोर्ट और दूसरे एयरपोर्ट से वो फ्लाई होने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, लेकिन यहाँ की गवर्नमेंट या यहाँ की कोई authority help नहीं कर रही है।
No, there's not a lot of information. Very little. It's all right. We're on holiday, so it doesn't matter. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen.
Jusqu'à maintenant, oui, on a eu des bonnes informations des autorités et ils nous ont bien informés. Et c'est au jour le jour, qu'est-ce qu'on peut faire? C'est la nature, donc on peut rien y faire. Pour une fois qu'on peut rien faire à quelque chose.
Raising the alert level to maximum, experts have warned that the volcano can erupt any moment. Over 1,50,000 residents living in 22 villages are already being moved to safer areas.
Kemudian ini mengarah ke barat ke bulannya. Kemudian malam hari masih kita amati adanya sinar api. Jadi kita tetap memantau gunung ini 24 jam, gitu ya.
For tourists from India, the Indian consulate in Bali has opened a help desk at the international airport to provide any assistance. External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj is monitoring the situation closely. Mount Agung in eastern Bali has been threatening to erupt for some time, prompting an evacuation of over 1 lakh people in September. The alert was lowered on the 29th of October as the activity decreased, but was raised once again 3 weeks later. On Saturday, for the second time in a week, the mountain sent clouds of volcanic ash 3 kilometers up into the air, caused by the heating and expansion of groundwater. Mount Agung, which sits more than 3,000 meters high, last erupted in 1963, killing more than 1,500 people and razing several villages. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And that's it from me and my team in this edition of News. Thanks for watching. Have a great day ahead.